Okay, so welcome to Typography. Today is Tuesday, March 20th. Today, Tuesday, is the Tuesday prior to our spring break. So we do not meet next week. You have spring break next week. Yay, I understand. But I have work up my sleeve for all of you. And the work that's up my sleeve for all of you is this right here, your final project. For most of you, I think many of you have not started this. Right? And it is the project that has the highest percentage of your grade in the class because it shows that you've learned and applied skills that you've learned in the class. So I recommend that over spring break you knock this thing out, because if we look at what week we're in here, March 20, right here, that's Unit 9. And in exactly 1 month from this week, I'm pretty sure it's 1 month from this week without checking deadlines, you'll be sending it to print. And it's not a project that you can do by staying up all night or by staying up for 48 hours. It's a project that you're going to want to create, get feedback in the classroom about your project, get support with it. And I think for a lot of you, I don't even know your concepts yet. And there are places in the class. Let me locate this here. Let's see. Here. If you go to the home page, there are discussion places where you need, there's the exclamation point, the single one, type publication prototypes upload, and the second one, 2 exclamation points, type publication prototypes. And this one is graded. This one is intentionally graded so you upload. And you're required 10 variations of two-page spreads. That would mean 20 pages of basically the same page information handled 10 different ways. That's what that means. So if your book is about coffee and it's photos of coffee and spelling words with coffee-related items or something like that, then you have to think about what your content is, meaning not the photographs, not the images, not the type that spells the words, for example, but what your content is. If you don't know what to say about your project, it's probably not a good project for you. If words come tumbling out, was it jujitsu? Jujitsu?
Yeah.
Okay. So clearly you had cool photographs, you had captured the photos, you already thought about it, you're passionate, you know you might have a photo to go with each move, you're going to handle the type in an interesting way. Jiu-jitsu, I assume, is Japanese? Brazilian, you said that before. Okay, so you might take the word, you might have the word for a pose, a position, I don't know what you call them, I think a yoga poses. And you might not know how to say the word, so you might do the alliteration for it, so we know how to say the word as the reader. We might, right? Maybe that goes with our headline. There might be different ways that you could help think of your content. You might have a caption for the photos. Wow, so happy to see all of you. Come close, please. Glad you're all here. Glad you all made it. Hi, Amanda. So think about the content. What I was saying is if you don't have content tumbling off your tongue, then it's not the right book for you. All right? You should really know what you want it to be about. So use your spring break next week to knock this out. You don't have a new project introduced to you. You don't, because I really am counting on all of you to make huge inroads in this. Okay? Yes, sir.
Yeah, so how much value is placed on like the imagery and the photos and stuff we put in there? Because I wanna make just a collection of poetry and just mix it with
Images.
my photography.
Your photography.
But I don't have like, it's not very connected. It's just because I need imagery.
You want imagery, and you
Yeah.
want to use your own imagery.
Yeah.
That's
Is that
okay.
a good reason?
That's a good reason enough. Actually, it's funny you say that. You're so honest, Bo. You're so great. Is that reason enough? I want to make a poetry. And the poetry, did you write it, or is poetry that's your poetry that touches you?
It'd be mostly stuff I've written.
Okay,
Yeah.
beautiful. Okay, so my guess is there will be a mood or a trigger word that you will associate with an image. And if you want to use only your own photography, I commend you for that. If you want to go to a website, today I was talking to a student in the portfolio class who didn't know how to find stock images. I really want all of you to use your own imagery. That makes your book 100% yours, right? Then it really is your publication. If you are at a huge loss, I mean, like, I compliment you that you grabbed your own photos. I know you can find them on the internet. We already discussed resolution, but you can search what's called royalty-free public domain high resolution, I hope I spelled that right, images. And it'll give you, the website will give you a list of sources for royalty-free stuff. Pexels has, you just put in a keyword and they have tons of images you can download. Public domain archives are beautiful resources to download images. And interestingly, let's see if it shows up here. The Metropolitan Museum of Art museums have public domain images. So let's say you wrote a sonnet. Okay, I know you may not have. Okay, but let's say you wrote a sonnet and it was reflective of Shakespeare or something like that. You could go, for example, to the Metropolitan Museum of Art public domain resources archives, right? And you could grab a royalty-free image of an etching of maybe that genre or something like that. So be creative when you think about what's apropos for whatever it is you're coming up with. Like I said, I prefer that you create a book that's your own imagery. I do, because I think it's going to feel more authentic to you. But this is what you'd Google. You'd Google this and then just keep swimming around looking for it. And don't be fooled, because like when you go to Pexels, for example, you could, somebody give me a topic. Food. Give me a specific topic. Pizza. Okay. So there you go. These are all free to use. And you can download them at different resolutions, different sizes. Who knew pizza had so many, right? And so if you, Bo, wrote a pizza poem and you didn't want to have to take a photograph of a pizza and you had no time for takeout, then here you go.
And I'm very stressed.
Yeah, and you're very stressed, and if you don't have money to order pizza and your friend's not buying you one, here's your backup, right? Okay. Yeah, if you don't have time to order pizza, you're too stressed. That's right. I got you. So anyway, and then sponsored photos, you're going to have to pay for. They're going to take you to a site that they're going to want you to buy their stuff. Okay, so just be wary of it. But you can see, just by being innovative, you have a lot of different resources. And of course, just because the photo looks like this, it doesn't mean that this is how you have to use the photo either, right? So you can silhouette it. If you know Photoshop skills or something like that, you can start to develop it. Does that help you all? So when you come back, let me just start at the beginning of our class session. When you come back from spring break, today, to go over what we're doing, today we are critiquing your printed menus. If your menu, you wish to revise it, you will bring it in right after spring break on Tuesday, and we will critique your revised printed menus, or if we haven't gotten to yours, we'll critique them. But we will also be expecting that you've got your book way under your belt, and that every single person will have uploaded to this discussion with the 2 exclamation points here, spreads of your publication, and read what the instructions are. Okay? Does anybody have questions beyond that? Before you start doing this, before you start doing your publication, do, of course, go to Blurb and go to MagCloud and spend a lot of time on the website. And for a lot of you, that might be a little stressful because it's an unknown. But if you're a graphic artist and a client gives you a project to do, you never say to your client, where do I print this? And you probably don't say to your client, how do I do that? Right? You don't. And if, somebody orders something off the menu for you, I would imagine you don't say, let me check on that. You say, we'll take care of it, would be my guess, because of your clientele. And no problem, we're happy to do that for you. And then you go in the kitchen and find out how to get 7 geese and,
how much to charge.
And how much to charge for it. Exactly. That's right. That's exactly it. And it's not any different. So when my client gives me a project and most of my clients do not know what they want. I basically show them what they want based on the information they've told me. They don't say, I want this. They say, I need this. I need something to take to a customer to show them my new line of markers. And I say, where are your customers located? How are you going to show them your markers? How many markers are there? I ask them all the right questions, and then I figure out what they need, and then I present to them what they need and how much it'll cost. Yes, sir.
I was just going to mention, if anyone's never used Blurb before, I think they always have an offer where you get like 10 or 20% off.
Here you go.
First time.
Here you go. Save 40%.
Blurb has a ton of codes.
Blurb Day. And if you guys aren't good at coupons, here, let me show you what a coupon queen does. You're a coupon king, aren't you?
Pardon?
You're probably a coupon king.
No, actually, I'm
terrible? Really?
I'm
okay. Coupon for blurb.com. And then you get all these sites that say, retail me not, coupon cabin. And you just swim around to find the best coupon.
They always have at least one for first-time users.
Yes.
Yeah, you sign up to have an account.
Yeah.
And you sign up, right.
And then you're on their email list and they keep emailing you.
Yeah, probably. But, 40% off is pretty rock star wonderful, right? Your books should not be very expensive. It depends on what you want to do. And then what you're going to want to do is look at the format, and you're going to want to look at Create, and you're going to want to decide who you want to be in the world. In other words, do I want to download their software and work on their interface? Do I want to work in InDesign and make sure I've got all the sizes? Once I read all the sizes, how do I know what all the details are? You can't guess because it'll reject your stuff. You're going to have to dig in here and find out what all the specs are. And of course, there's help. So you ask questions. All right. Do they have a chat? Anybody see if they have a chat? Hire your dream team, customer support, get support, browse, instructions, self-publishing. You guys know web stuff. Honestly, websites better than I do. You were born with a mouse in your hand. So everybody knows, right? Everybody knows how to do this. Yeah? Yeah?
I know we talked about this before, but I just want to have it in my brain fresh. So you have the cover, front cover, and back cover.
Yeah, let's...
You have the table of contents. Do you need that, or do you have to?
Let's build a book.
And then the number of pages. I know we talked about that.
We talked,
And I just want to confirm to make sure I'm on board.
Okay,
The minimum.
so the question is, how many pages? I don't know is the answer. Enough to communicate your point. When you create a publication, I'm taking a random size. Don't use my size on the screen here. Bleed and margins. You're going to have to get all of that from the place you're having it printed. If you decide to go to your own print shop, if you go to your own print shop and you want your book a custom size, understand that a book 10 inches wide, you can't print at any normal print shop because the largest your paper is at a normal print shop is 11 by 17. And you all have to build in a bleed. So let's do that. The bleed, the default is, and this is not based on Blurb, this is based on if you went to your own print shop, okay? And if you wanted, let's say your book saddle stitch. Saddle stitch means, saddle stitch means you've got pages like this, and they are stitched, they're stapled on the spine. This cannot be saddle stitch because it's 8.5 by 11 in size, and there's no paper that's 22 inches wide plus a bleed 23 inches wide in a digital printer. You all understand me? Yeah? Okay. So if Jackie wanted this printed, she knows that she can't go wider than this being 8.5, and then she'd have to allow for the bleed. So the largest width her book would be, if she self-publishes, would be about 8 inches wide. And then that could be printed on 11 by 17 as spreads, 2-page spreads, and saddle stitch, right? Okay. Was that clear to everybody? Sometimes when I use words, I feel like I'm not being clear, like I need to show instead of tell. But it worked? Worked, okay. So when you develop your book, when you dream up a size, what you are going to do is you're going to have facing pages. Facing pages means when you open a book, you have two pages that face each other. And so let's say we build a book. Let's just start making a document. And when you build pages that face each other and they're saddle stitched, remember I told you this before, they have to be divisible by 4. They have to be divisible by 4 because when you have an 11 by 17 sheet of paper, this is it trimmed down with a bleed. This immediately, this immediately is 4 pages. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. If you have an 8-page book, you have 2 sheets like this, right? 12-page book, 3 sheets like this. 16-page book, 4 sheets like this, and they stack on each other. You all get that? Okay. Nobody has scissors, right? I'm not strong enough to do this. Who knows? Maybe I am. Okay, so I took my sheet of paper and I folded it to a small booklet. You could do this too. If you wanted to self-print a small booklet, I do not care what size it is. I do care about all the details that I'll grade you on. So this book now, from my 1 page, is the cover, page 1, page 2, page 3. Who thinks they might do a book themselves like this, small? Anybody? What? Okay, so watch. So I'm going to number these pages as we go. So here's page 1. We're not going to see 3. When we get to the end, we'll see. So page 1, page 2, these are called reader spreads. Page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, right? It's a 16-page booklet by folding a single piece of paper and planning it out. If I opened the paper before I tore it all up, it would have been called a signature. It would have been called a 16-page signature. How many is that new information for? Really? Okay. Let me pull up something for you guys. And if this interests you,
I'll put that in the archive. We've got quite a bit on that subject.
We do, John. Thank you. This is what I want. I started developing an assignment for this, for an online class. And let's see. It's called Signatures and Imposition. And maybe you can write this website down if you guys are interested. This is This is my little video.
This little video is to help you make a mock-up of your booklet. The booklet is basically an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that I folded twice. If you want to work with a larger booklet and you have the ability to print an 11 by 17 sheet in your printer, I say go for it. But what I did was I folded the 8.5 by 11 sheet in half, and then I folded it in half again, and that makes what's called an 8-page signature. 4 pages on this side and 4 pages on this side. Notice that the numbers, page 1 and page 8, get imposed in this assignment as side by side. And 4 and 5, pages 4 and 5, get imposed upside down. And if I flip the sheet over, you'll notice that pages 2 and 7 sit side by side, and pages 3 and 6 sit side by side. So how I did this was I numbered my mock-up like this. I folded it, I made a notation for the cover, number 1. The inside front cover is page 2 in your document. Page 3 is the next one. Page 4 and 5 are facing pages in the center spread. Page 6. Page 7 is the inside back cover. And lastly, page 8 is the outside back cover. Once this is printed, you will fold it like this. Make sure that you build in an 1/8 of an inch bleed all around. And then you will end up trimming very close to your fold at the top right here. You'll trim off the bottom where the crop marks indicate down here. And lastly, you'll trim right here. You'll trim right here. I suggest a ruler and an X-Acto blade for clean trimming. And then ultimately you will staple, saddle stitch your booklet right here and here. Hopefully this helps you think through your mock-up.
Is that helpful? Yeah? Had anybody seen anything like that before? You have. You haven't seen that video
I
before?
think I've seen
Did I show it to you on something else?
maybe. I've seen how to make these.
You've seen somebody else do the similar
Yeah.
video, yeah. And so if you are interested in building a booklet, this is only an 8-page booklet. I actually videoed how to start building a booklet in InDesign, and I never finished this project, but I think it helps you think through the parameters of it anyway. And I think that explains what we did here, except it was a 16-pager, right? This one was 16 pages. But it shows you that if you were printing it yourself, how to manipulate your pages if you wanted to print it on campus. The reason I discourage you from it, I will discourage you from it, is I think that it serves you really well. I want to get that. I don't want to be in here. Let's see. I think it serves you really well to learn how to navigate a site like Blurb. I think it serves you really well to do something a little bit out of your comfort zone, to be honest. And you will be so bedazzled, truly. Kind of like you thought it was great to see your big type specimen posters on the wall. To see a professionally printed publication that you made will be an incredible thrill and very professional for all of you as a showpiece for applying to a school, for a client who might ask you what type of work you do, for whatever purpose you use it for. Okay? Any questions? All good with this? So come in the week, so you have 2 weeks, the week after spring break, with your pages uploaded to this discussion with the 2 exclamation points. Here it is right here. And after spring break, if you haven't brought in your finished or revised menu, you'll bring that in also on that day. Okay? Okay. Beyond that, I'm not introducing anything new. What we did download is people's menus and design briefs so we can discuss the ones that are printed. How many who walked in late have menus to share? Well, that's fabulous. Okay, then I think what we're going to do, usually we sit in a circle and do this, but I think since you're all pretty close, I'd love for you to come closer, just roll your chairs up, and whoever is presenting can present here, because I want you all to be able to see the nuances of everybody's design and the things that we might end up picking apart. And we pick things apart so you can improve them to make them all the better, okay? You guys appreciate the critiques? Yeah? They help you all? Yeah, okay. So who wants to go first? You do, right. You do. You found your pages. You don't want to go first, really? Okay.
I'll go.
All right, you'll go after Holly. Okay. So Holly, to get you started, you have 2 submissions. One's your design brief and one's your menu file. So I want to start with your design brief for a second. Have a seat, my dear. I think you shared it with us already, correct?
Yeah, but it wasn't finished.
Let's not spend a lot of time on the design brief, okay? So I downloaded everybody who has uploaded theirs. Let's not spend a lot of time on the design brief. If there's something missing in your design brief, I can tell you today so you can fill it in.
Okay.
Okay, I do want everybody to know, I want to be clear about this also. Restaurant menu. Up here in the corner it says grading rubric. That grading rubric is very specific. All of these details here in the white background are all the things you should have accomplished in the last weeks and included. I get a smile out of you. And down here is how your points are allocated based on the information you have in here and your information here. So if you want to double check yourself and make sure in your design brief you've included everything, because your design brief, as you all know, has a lot of points to it, take a look right there, which was the upper corner of the menu page. And then we'll come back to here, and there you go.
Do you want me to go through every page?
You could just go real fast. You can kind of, I don't want us to get lost in it. You know what I mean?
Okay. So yeah, mine's a French restaurant called Chandelier. It's like mainly for like adults that are like, they have higher income because it's supposed to be like kind of fancy. And then the color palette was just like pinks and purples and golds and like some blues. I had a lot of like fancy scripts because that's what I wanted to use for the logo. And this is just like ideas for like the vibe that I'm going for. These are all the roughs. And then all the layouts as well.
Oh, okay. So a lot of you, no, you can go. Yeah.
This one.
A lot of you forget to include your process. What Holly did is, I'm going to roll this up here so it gets recorded. A lot of you forget to include your process, and what Holly did here is she did screen captures. So I just want to make sure that all of you know that that's a pretty easy way to include the way you work. It helps me understand how you set up your files. And the reason why I like to know that is if there's a way that I can instruct you to do something that will serve you better as you work your workflow, I can call attention to it for you.
And then I actually have like basically 2 versions of my completed one. One of them has like the bow on the edge, and the other one's just plain because I wasn't sure which one I liked better. And it kind of like makes it harder to open up this one with the bow. Like I wish I had done like another hole in the middle, and then like found a way to wrap it through and still create a bow though. But I couldn't figure out how to do that at the time I had. But I also did like gold foil on it.
Tell everybody how you did that.
I went to Art Essentials and they have like a kit for it, and then you basically just have to I had to take a tiny brush and like hand paint the adhesive on, and then like put the gold foil over it, like press it down, and then just peel it off and then wipe away all the excess ones. And then like one of them, yeah, on this one, like it's kind of messed up in here because it also came with a sealer, and so I'd never done it before, so I started putting the sealer on, but then I didn't know that it'll actually stain your paper. So I stopped doing it after I realized that it was messing up the inside.
Okay. And you want to talk more about it? Your logo turned out to be very different than your prototypes.
Yeah. That's one of the ones that I have on here, and I liked it the best because it kind of like, I wanted the menu to be like simple but also elegant, and that's why it's like small and kind of like petite looking, and the type is really like simple, but like there's like has nice script, but then the like actual food is like in a sans serif font, so it's like really easy to read, and it's like not a super big menu because I wanted it to just be like super special, like, oh, you can only get this certain food here, you know.
I love that blue. Poplar, I love that color.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really pretty with the gold foil. Very attractive.
Yeah, that
You want to
actually.
hold it up perfectly? So hold it up. Stand up, hold it. Can you all see it well enough? Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about for that?
No, not really. I think I like how it came out. The only thing I would change would be like the design of the bow to make it easier to open it, and I would move the text out because it's a little bit too close to the inside, I think, to like read it well.
Yeah, Holly learned when you have bindery takes up real estate near the spine, right? What I'm grabbing here is the spine, right? And where her bow is, it takes up real estate. So what all you would do is increase the inside margin in your document as you set it up. Comments for Holly? So let me help you guys. This is the problem with being in seats. Okay. Amanda, were you going to say something?
It's
No?
a pretty cool gold leafing. Is that your first attempt at gold leafing?
Yeah, there was one more that I printed out and I tried it on, and that one didn't turn out good because I didn't put enough adhesive on, but these are both the like second and third attempts.
Pretty cool. That's not easy to do at all. Kind of
Yeah,
messy
it
too.
was not super easy on the really thin type.
Yeah.
So one of these is your menu itself, right?
Yeah.
So here's the file. So here, I want to talk to you to help you all think through the menus and understand all of Holly's successes, okay? So let's be super clear. First off, when you look at this menu, is it easy to know what category of food you were looking for?
Yes.
Okay. So if it was like TGIF Fridays where you expect noise or what's that tacky restaurant, Hooters, right? Okay. I've actually never been to one, I will confess, but I imagine that their menus are probably tacky, like loud. And has anybody ever been to one?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. So are their menus loud? Are their menus like loud and colorful?
Not any louder than some of the other stuff I've seen out there. I mean, it's
Right.
just like a board kind of thing.
Oh, it's a board menu.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
Like one laminated
Okay.
board, or I don't know. At least the one I went to.
Well, there you go. And I picked that or TGIF Fridays in contrast to this really refined restaurant called Chandelier, right? Where the name of the restaurant immediately conjures up
Chandelier.
elegance, right? Yeah, it's French, it's elegance, right? And so you expect the menu to be refined. So when you open the menu, you don't expect noise, you expect serenity, right? So when we look at her menu here, we notice that she's got a hierarchy of types. She's got headlines that are really readable, but they're kind of elegant and scripty, which goes with the logo type. But notice it's not the same as the logo type, right? It's a different font. Logo type should be considered sacred, which means when it's logo type, don't make your headlines in your logo type. Your logo is your logo, and it's like sacred. It is unique. It is one of a kind. So she's got easy to scan headlines. It's got an elegant hierarchy and weight. She's consistent with her letting, with the appetizer, the name of the appetizer. She indents and describes the meal. She uses the appropriate symbols for a French restaurant. Pâté has all the right symbols on it, right? And I don't even know who can say that word. Can you?
No.
Okay. So I'm not going to even try and embarrass myself, but you've got all these beautiful accent marks and you're using the right characters, so I really compliment you. I don't see any weird and random widows sticking out. I'm noticing that every time you use the word and, it shows up as an ampersand. I haven't found any flaws yet to tell you otherwise. Did you search for it?
Yes.
Okay. You can also do a search, a find and replace. So you could search for a whole word, A-N-D, and then replace with an ampersand. Did you do that? And that way you don't say oops, because we all make an oops in that. And so I look at this spread here, which I think is great. It looks like you added a gray or something tint. Is that true?
It's a pinkish tint.
Okay. So in the future, any pinkish tint, you extend beyond the trim into the bleed area. So,
I did on my document.
okay. So when you print it, it should extend beyond the trim, so you know.
Okay.
Okay.
I had a bleed and I had it extend.
Perfect.
But I don't
It's
know
just
why
not in this.
showing up.
It's
Yeah.
not in this one.
Yeah.
That's all. So I'm just telling you all that when you make a bleed and you want a colored background, you don't want it to end where it trims. You want it to extend beyond the trim. Okay? Big rock star major points for doing this foil business. That was not something you do when you're too stressed to order pizza, right? So beautiful. The fact that you use the accent gold thread to go with the gold foil is beautiful. You got the whole mood. If you were in a different situation with printers, meaning how you can print these out, you would probably have picked a cover weight to your menu. Not soft, I'm sure. The inside pages would have been heavier. The only thing I would love for you to have thought about, unless I'm stepping on people's toes here, are there more comments here? The only thing I would love for you to have thought about is it's a letdown on the back that you have menu and you didn't finish this really elegant cover.
Mm-hmm.
What I'd really like, and I know this is upside down how I'm holding it, but I'd really like the cover to be all blue or have that same elegant something going on in the back. And so the fact that your menu is really only 3 pages, right? So if we go down a page here, that's your back page. I'd rather you have made this maybe a 3rd panel that folded in or something and thought how you could have ended with an outside back cover that looked like that. Now, maybe it means that you, because of how you bound it, you could have inserted just 2 pages here, and you could have had appetizers, entree, flip to your next page, and it could have been this page, beverages, right, and what is it, desserts or something, wine. And you could have made your wine list longer to buy some more real estate. And so this back page, so if you had this as your back page, right, what would you have put on this page, because you only have a 3-page menu? You could have put information about catering, or the story of chandelier, or about our chef, or information on maybe about our chef, something that might be a little bit of interest to elevate the restaurant. And then you could end with just a simpler backside not menu. That would be the only thing I would consider different. If you wanted to revise it, okay, I would not tell you to redo this because I know how long it takes. But create a prototype and see what a prototype would be, is if other ways you might choose to lay it out to add that back if you want to. Of course, revising is always optional for all of you, right? Always. But it's something to think about, because for menu design, the elegance, I think you need more elegance on the outside back cover is what I think. Yeah, you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You kind of didn't know where to go with it, right?
I just didn't know what to add for another page.
Yeah. Or it could be blank. It could just be blue, right? This last page, right? So here you are, here's this page, this page, this page, and then the one added here could be blue, nothing on it, and that's it.
Or just a dedication, location.
And
all kinds of
anything.
menus have those kind of
Right.
things, phone number or whatever.
Story about our logo. This brilliant designer, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
Whatever you want. It's yours, right? Okay, beautiful. Beautiful start.
Do you want to use?
No, you hang on to them so I do not harm them. And I'd like to say that Holly remembered to, here you are. Where are you? Here you are. Holly remembered to photograph her menu in context. What I'd love for you when you photograph your menu is set a table, go to a restaurant, go to your restaurant, set your menu down, and take a photo at that place setting. You're probably doing Hooters, right? For your menu, but which won't work at Pane Vino, right?
It'll work anywhere. It's just the table.
It's just a table, right? So maybe in the setup of the environment of the table, that would be photographing your menu in context, is what that means. With something restauranty with it. Yeah, there you go. The oven in the background. Okay.
All right, so you're going to see a lot of changes with the logo, with everything. I didn't stick probably with a lot of stuff, so we'll go through this quickly because you've seen a lot of this already. I used none of those fonts either. Didn't use any of those logos. This stayed the same. All right, so here's all our mood boards. You saw this before. Here are my sketches. And then I did all the progress pages because there's a lot of thought process of adding a bind, not adding a bind. Is it too busy? Is it not too busy? Yada, yada, yada. So I went through a lot of that back and forth business. What are these? Oh, wait, I'm wrong. Sorry. Wait. Then the logo, I did progress on the logo because, as you know, I had a zillion to show you before. So I started with that, with the busy, kind of condensed it down, and then ended up with that. And then did the story text wrapped around the bottle on the front. Kept it simple. So here I am just going through the motions of progress. I tried sage paper, I tried Divine, I tried cream. And then we got to the fun. I took a little field trip one day. I went to Art for Scrap and got this piece of wood and got this twine, had this paper in my house, and just kind of turned it into something else. My sweet husband, under strict instructions, did the board for me and even rounded the corners. Isn't that sweet? And he did the little holes. He doesn't comment on the work, though. He kind of learns not to do that. And so anyway, I went through the process of, the little bow in the corner, and I totally respect the real estate up here. That's something that I didn't think about when I designed this. So when I measured everything out, and then when it came to cutting, I had to tweak it, to be honest with you, but I went back in and realigned everything, and I think fixed everything, hopefully. I don't know. Then here's the best part. Let's pretend, put your pretend hat on, that this is like on the back of the board, like painted, you know, stamped, whatever. Isn't that cute? Thought that was fun.
Mhm.
So there you go. Debated if it should go there or here. Or both. Enough about that. So anyway, here's the final.
Do you want to pass it around?
Yeah, sure. Here's the final, all the pages and the cover. And then I did mock-ups, had fun with the mock-ups. I thought this table was awesome because it kind of shows the food that the wine merchant has. And I thought that was great. So here's my 2 little menus, and then did the bottle and just had fun with it. I like mock-ups. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I love mock-ups.
Will you go back to that?
Yeah.
So one of the reasons I also have you photograph or create a composite photograph of whatever your project is in context, because Susie created the prototype up above with the menus in place, and then built, put the menu in the fruit basket or the food basket, and take out bags, and made a wine merchant label. She now created a brand. The only thing I would add to that brand is I would make signage out in front of the restaurant.
I knew I didn't do that, but yes, that would have been
But
great.
you can see how far you can carry this stuff, right? Aprons, for the servers, that kind of thing. And my guess is all the blood, sweat, and tears really happened on the menu and building the menu and so forth. And my guess is that wine label in the bag probably weren't very painful.
This was the least. I did this morning.
Right.
It was like a breeze. That, on the other hand,
Yeah.
was not.
Is there a website with mock-ups that's
You
really-
just Google the snot out of it, and you'll
Yeah.
find mock-ups
And
everywhere, free.
Is it pretty simple?
I have to admit, I did pay for that table
Oh.
$5, but you know what? It's the one I wanted, and that's it. They'll have it forever. But yeah, it's a very easy transition where you
Photoshop it
throws you
on.
right into Photoshop,
Yeah.
and then you have your layers. Believe me, I know nothing about it. I'm very green with this, but
It looks amazing.
But
You
I've
did a good
learned. I
job.
have to do a lot of mock-ups for another class I'm taking this semester, so I kind of learned through that. I still have trouble like getting rid of what's there, and sometimes I have to paste over, or not paste over, but plot mine over it type of thing. But I'm getting there. But it's
Looks good.
fun. It's fun to do. There's so many things out there that you can choose from. So
Yeah,
many
the bag
things.
one was good.
Yeah, the bag was fun. I wondered if I did that bottle too big, but I thought, well, what the heck, I think I was so proud of the logo finally.
Look at my logo.
Look at my logo.
Look at my
I
logo.
finally did it.
You can tell what kind of wine is in the bottle by its shape.
Yeah.
And that bottle is Pinot Noir. The shape you have.
Thank you for saying that.
I didn't know that, but the color was crucial to me. If you saw on that page before, I was trying to figure out color, and I thought, you know what? That just feels right. And I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
That's good.
So there you go. The deep burgundy.
It's so good you're here.
Yes, I didn't know that. That's cool. So anyway, that's that.
So what's in what's in
What?
the bottle there?
Cap.
As a cap. And
That's a
this is a total non sequitur, you guys, so I apologize. It's me digressing. But I had a little place in my house that I had to fill with a cabinet, so I decided my cabinet was a wine cabinet. And I'm annoyed at my wine cabinet because the shelves vary in distance, so all my wine bottles don't fit on each shelf. So my cap is no problem. It's the smallest, narrowest bottle, but my Pinot totally does not fit except only on one shelf. Who would know?
Because of the
It
bottles.
took me 120 years to learn this. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
So, comments for Susie, because the menu's going around now. Questions on how she did it, how she built it. Can we look at your pages of your information?
This.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
How did you make your decisions on your type?
That I did at Avenir.
Oh, you did Avenir.
Yeah, and that I just kept it clean. I just want it just clean, and that's what I thought was the cleanest one.
If you look at her menu and you're 112, you can still read her menu.
It's
The
a,
type is really big, right?
it's a huge menu too, and there's a lot of stuff.
Well, that was the problem. There was and they have they have lunch. They have late lunch. I think I told you guys this. They have happy hour. They have this. And so I just focused on lunch, but I compared all the menus, and there's 4 items on the dinner menu that's not on anything else. So the lunch menu is pretty safe with what they have. This is what they have. Building it was difficult because the staggered pages, the real estate at the top.
I like the wood, man.
Yeah, I knew I wanted it on wood. The width of it was hard because there was, I did obviously the grid-like format. And then I did the dotted line at the bottom to where you cut each page to stagger up. It was hard, it was this was the longest page, the one that sits on the bottom, and then you work your way up. And I was at FedEx a lot, making, copies and making errors and coming home. And then they, I can't have access to my file because they don't have InDesign. So then I come home. We won't talk about that. Anyway, this is it.
That is the joy of being a graphic designer.
Oh my goodness. It
Office,
was,
the Office Max off of Gutierrez. They're really good.
yeah. Well, I just go and do my own thing, and they let me do my thing.
And they do all
and
their
fine.
stuff with InDesign and Photoshop and pretty much.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
All of them.
So,
Oh, I was just wondering, would kids be spelled with an apostrophe in this case? Because it says pizza and kids on the menu. And I read that as...
You get to eat kids.
Well, that's how I read it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Should it?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
And there's this,
Pizza and kids.
yeah, there's a story behind the S's. Because on this menu, everything was plural. This was another decision I had to make.
Everything's pluralized.
It was plural. I'm not pluraling anything. And then everything was like, mozzarella was capitalized. Tapenade was capitalized. I'm like, I'm not capitalizing anything unless it's the first word of the description. So these were decisions I had to make as a designer because it was so inconsistent. When you do spell check, it would stop you on
Yeah.
every one. And I'm like, no. So I don't know, Bo. I don't know what to do with the S.
Yeah,
Because it's
no,
probably
yeah.
one of 2 on the menu.
There would be no apostrophe.
Oh, no.
There would be. It's just plural.
I think the apostrophe would make it seem like kids were edible.
Or you'd say kids pizzas.
Okay,
That would be
yeah.
the apostrophe.
I didn't have the most creative title there, I admit, but that's what I came up with.
That's good. Who else has got comments?
I like I don't know how to say, the bottom.
The graduated pages.
Like stare, you
Staggered.
can just find
Graduated
what you
pages.
want.
Right.
Mm.
How did you design that? Can you tell people how you did that?
So I started with the first page, which is the longest page. It's built on it's printed on an 8.5 by 11 page, okay? I took the page and made every page because I wanted it to be a 7 by 10. So I made every page 7 by 10 and I built it that way. Then I started with the dessert and drinks longest page, and I basically just set a half an inch, 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 half an inch to where that cut line was going to go. One thing I learned the hard way in why things were not coming out was the space of the gutter, the space of the margins. One was like a quarter, one was half, the gutter was off, and it throws everything when you print it. Believe me, it throws everything. So I had to make sure that everything was consistent on each page. So when these half inch go up the page, and when you're cutting, that it all falls in line. It's not easy. But I tweaked that. I have to admit, I tweaked it, and I went back in. I said, why? And that's what I figured out last night. Was like everything was off.
Is that their
On 2
actual
pages.
menu, or is that your menu that you just made up?
That's their menu.
They got a lot of
It's their menu. It's a really good place. You should really try it. That's what my husband said. I go,
Yeah, you should.
I don't know if I have the
Yeah,
nerve.
that's a great idea.
Oh, you should.
Should I?
Absolutely. The other part is I actually did have a student create a menu for a restaurant, and the restaurant ended up using the menu.
Really?
Really.
And my husband said, he goes, you should pitch this, Susie. And I'm looking at him like, you're kidding. He goes, no, I'm not
Yeah.
kidding.
Yes, you should.
Because
So I'm going to show you a couple things. And so are there more comments for Susie's design? No. You guys aren't very chatty today. You're just appreciative, I can tell. Is that accurate?
I did it on
that accurate?
cardstock paper too. That was something else. I did it on thicker paper, so they're going to be flipping a lot.
Well, I'm going to get to your critiques, but I want to stay here on her graduated pages. So Susie has graduated pages, and every page is a ½ inch shorter. So this document we created, this was that book one. I made it not facing pages right now. I turned off facing pages. Doesn't even matter how many pages it is. The page size is 8 wide, 10 tall, okay? Here we are on page 1. No. So let's pretend page 1 is the last page, which is, what's the last page?
Drinks and desserts.
Drinks and desserts, Machima? The last page? Okay. So let's go, that's the last page. And one of the things Susie said she needed was consistent margins and columns. So what I would do, remember this for your type book, is I go to what's called a master page. And because nobody has shown me their book prototypes yet, we haven't talked about master pages. And we'll get more into that next time we meet. But I would go to the master page and I double click on it, which means it applies to all pages named A-master, which is every page here, A. And I go to layout and I go to margins and columns. And hers is 2 columns. And I'm going to give her a big gutter, which is like 3/8 of an inch, or here, a ½ inch gutter. And now you'll notice that if I go to page 1, 2, 3, all her margins and columns are the same. So she doesn't have to guess her alignment, right? The other thing is if page 1 is her last page, the longest, 10 inches long, let's say, and it was called drinks, your second to last page was what? Entrees. So we go to the second last page and we go to this second tool here called the page tool. And we click on the page tool right here, and it says this book is, what does that say, 8 by 10.
Mm-hmm.
So I can make it a ½ page shorter, which is what you did, which is 9.5, and now that page is smaller without making a dashed line.
I didn't do that. I did the dash line instead. But yes,
Right.
I worked off of that a lot because I didn't set it up properly, so I kept going back to this
Right.
to set it up right.
So when you make any document and you want different pages, because you want one file, one document with letterhead, 8.5 by 11, business cards, 2 inches by 3.5 inches, envelopes, 9.5 by 4 1/8, I think it is, or 4 1/4. You can make your page size anything you want. But so here now, page 3, we go to the page tool, we click on our page, and now we just make this one 9 inches. And now when we print them with our trim marks or our bleed marks, they will be 100% the size we would wish to trim them.
This dictates that trim mark. This
It
right here.
dictates the trim
See,
mark.
now that would have saved me.
It would have
a
a bit
long
of
time.
headache, heartache, more
But
than
that's
anything.
fine now, I know.
Right.
But that's because
why
I was
I'm
like,
doing
how do you get those
Right.
those marks to where I
And
want
this
them to
is
be?
this is actually why I always ask you all to bring in mock-ups, paper mock-ups to the class, because then I can show you how to build your files, right? Had you brought paper mock-ups to the class, but you got them here today, so it's okay. This is how I can help you understand how to build files.
This is huge.
Okay.
Right here.
The other thing is, let's pretend we want to throw a business card in here for kicks. I just want you to understand, page tool selected, those little corners show up. A business card is 3.5 wide by 2 inches tall. I just want you to understand it can be any page size you want. Yeah? Okay. Graduated Pages is beautiful and brilliant. It's a great example. Does anybody have any other comments? Because I want to make a few comments to help you all develop an eye. Okay. So I think it was Paige. You might kill me for saying anything to you.
I don't care.
Okay.
I mean, I care. I want to hear it.
Okay.
I shouldn't be like that. I do care.
I know you care.
You're not going to upset me.
No. Well, I will say, so a few things I want to say about it. First off is, it's beautiful. It has a beautiful presentation, right? Graduated Pages, it's true, you talked about the real estate at the top where it ties. When they get printed on cover stock, it's in the AutoQuad, they would likely score right below the tie. Remember we talked about what a score is? And then the page would fold up easily. So if it were professionally printed, the printer, you would specify a score, at, let's say, an inch down from the top on all of those pages. And you would have had marks outside. I think I got rid of that page. Yeah, I did. You would have had marks outside indicating the score.
And I knew that, but I didn't know
Right.
how to do it.
So
I did my little thing.
Right. Right, and then you turned
Which
it
is-
off for printing, or you cut it out, or whatever. It doesn't show.
Yeah, I cut it with the whole,
Okay,
whole
right.
punch. I mean,
But what you would have done is where you have trim, you would have drawn a dashed line, which would have indicated the score.
you draw that on there.
You draw that on there.
Okay.
And you draw that on there in registration color. Registration color means registration
That's right.
color in InDesign means it prints on every printing plate. Okay, that's good. Where did I see this?
Oh, another decision I made with the pricing too, I was going to tackle the tabs. I didn't do it like this to avoid the tabs. I was going to, but it didn't work or fit with the flow of
Yeah,
what I was
aesthetically,
doing.
right.
Yeah, aesthetically.
It's really big type. I probably, like, there is a hierarchy. It's all centered. We go to bold and then we go to Roman or medium weight or something like that. I probably reduce the point size of the descriptions to create a little more hierarchy differentiation. You have a really big type on this menu.
Because I think it was like, I mean, I did the, paragraph styles. I'd have to look at it
Oh,
again.
yeah, I know a lot of people who would be very, very happy to keep
Right.
that.
With the size of it.
All the people that would be happy with your menu are the ones that take their iPhones out and they turn on their flashlights on the menu,
I think it was like 12 and 14.
right? Is that all your parents or grandparents or something? You do that. Thank you. That's a nice thing to say.
I
about
made the price little too, because did you make the comment or who made the comment to have the price little on menus because you don't want to advertise the price?
You don't want to scream.
So I think it was 14, 12, and I don't know,
Right.
something, but
I might
that is too
differentiate.
big, the description.
I it's my own aesthetic.
Okay.
The other thing is you're not going to like me for this. You got a comment here, so you got to have somebody proof this.
Oh, that would be me, the proofer, missed that.
Okay. Well, you can't proof your own work. And at the top, all desserts are handmade in-house from our ice cream to our caramel sauce and whipped cream. If you do that search or in place, you'll change your and there to match all your ampersands.
Oh, that was a good one. Good,
Right.
Good.
So,
spy.
and nobody can proof their own work. And they don't show up until you're totally done with your project. I must tell you. And I did share a studio with somebody who would proof all their work upside down.
Oh, that's
Because your eye sees things that are out of
a good
place
idea.
because it's not a familiar, you don't pop things in that don't belong. So things like that are things to search
Can I
for.
ask them a question real quick on the dessert?
Yeah.
Does that price under that description say, yes, all these desserts are that price? Do you guys question that or even notice that?
I
That's what I
don't.
was
Is it a little iffy to you
I
guys?
don't. but
Because
know
I
that
don't know. I
people
didn't
would.
see you putting 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8,
I
8.
guarantee you give a menu like that in a restaurant, people will be like, how much are these?
Okay.
And then there are other
I
people
just
that
wanted to
they will
ask
order it with
because
an,
that was
"I'll take the
something I
number
debated
4."
on.
That's the price.
Okay.
Oh, they'll take the number 4.
Because it was the same price, and I'm like, I'm not putting 8 all the way down.
Right. And then here, let's see, what else have you got going on? That's all good. Those are just continuity things that you got to make decisions on. What's that?
You were going somewhere.
I don't know where. That's it. That's good.
Something I did focus on too on each page is that I found that it was so much in descriptions and some of the, like the entrees and the desserts and stuff. So I tried to make it, like aesthetically to the eye, just comfortable as you read it, almost like a upside down triangle. But I didn't really do that on purpose, but I kind of did.
For balance, I'd probably write the word beverages above. No, I wouldn't do that. I would write some description above all the beverages. All of our, all of our drinks come from are, internationally sourced. We have our Italian.
Oh, say like the
soda-
dessert. Say something
Yeah,
about the
because I
beverage.
want to have a parallel. You say all desserts are blah 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 blah. That you don't do that on any other page.
You get
So
all-
I'd probably make that italic or something, or a smaller font or a different font,
Okay.
and then I'd make a parallel on the beverage side.
we get all our beverages at Costco,
Exactly. Exactly.
and they're really good.
Exactly. There you go.
Okay.
Anything else I missed, you guys? Okay. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, did you have a question? Yeah. Who's coming up now? Great. Did you upload yours, Amanda?
Yeah, I just did it.
Oh, you just did it 2 minutes ago. Okay. Like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can locate it. Did yours load there?
Yeah, it's that.
Where are you?
The menu design.
Okay. There we go.
So my restaurant is called Delphinium, and that comes from the like flower of July, because I was born in July, and this is like the month's flower. So I just thought it was a kind of unique name to use. So I was inspired by like these like botanical drawings of the flowers and like the watercolor one too. So those are the colors I chose. It's a really like muted color palette. So I wanted it to be a food truck. And I thought like most food trucks don't really have paper menus. They mostly write them on a board behind the people are like on the front of the truck. But I thought it would be good to have a real menu because a lot of times it's like confusing and like there's not a lot of descriptions. You don't really know what you're ordering in a food truck. You just like base it off of like a picture you see. So I thought this would be good. It's like a really minimal menu, but it's good. So it's my inspiration, just like some things I liked. So these are the fonts that I was playing around with, and I ended up choosing this one. So these are some logo sketches. And here's the logo drafts. And then I narrowed it down to these three and like played with the colors, but then I ended up going with this one.
Where did you get the Delphinium?
I drew it.
Really?
Yeah.
An illustrator?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Is it hard?
It's just like two different flowers
And you
repeated a bunch of
duplicated
times.
them.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thanks. So this is a menu layout. It's 3 panels. I think it's being passed around. It's 3 panels, so there's 2 like bigger ones and then 1 small one. So it has sandwiches, salads, sides, drinks, and then this one's just a decorative. Yeah.
Look at how beautiful she delineated her mock-up. She made a paper mock-up because you can't set up your file without knowing. So I compliment you on that. I just want everybody to recognize it's really valuable when you design something to have that set up for yourself and be able to refer to it.
This is like the style guide, I guess, of it. So I have like the filled in delphinium flowers, and then I also tried it with outlines. I thought that looked kind of cool, like as a sketch. And then in the actual menu, the main headers are this font and size. The secondary headers are just like the name of the like dish that you're ordering is this, and then this is like the description of what the food is.
Where'd you find the font?
On DaFont. Well, this one was already loaded on, this one on DaFont. So yeah, this is one side. So this is like, this is the cover. And I like how this logo looks, but I was just like worried that people might like not read it correctly. So I added that in here, and this is like the meaning or symbolism of the flower. So I thought that was a nice touch. And this is the inside. And, yeah.
So comments for Amanda.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And the fact of food truck, you're totally right. Like I have the hardest time going to food truck because there is no description. There people are sort of, it's like a frenzy
Mhm.
kind of scene, so you can't ask anybody really. So I think that's an awesome idea. And then it's beautiful. And I love how you flipped the narrow, you open it up and you have the design. It's just that narrow little flip, flat.
Yeah.
Panel.
Panel, thank you. Panel.
Flat boards.
Anyway, it's beautiful. The colors, everything.
On the printed out one, it printed out a little more blue. It's supposed to be like a little more purple.
Oh.
I don't know if you can tell.
More comments?
I like the outline version of the logo a lot, and I like that you put that on the inside while keeping the color version on the outside. Because I feel like I've seen that done on some other menu or something before too. I feel like it sets up a good hierarchy, like dividing the inside and the outside, having the outside of the menu very colorful, and having like the same sort of graphics, but in like black and white and monochrome. I think it differentiates like the back, the outside, the inside of the menu really well.
Yeah, and it'll be easier to change up too if you change the menu, which most trucks do.
Mm-hmm. More comments for Amanda?
What's your birthday?
July 27th.
Mine's the 17th. I was just checking. Delphinium, that's an interesting thing.
I didn't know that. That's up in you. Anybody else?
For the headers, like Sarah just saw, do you just put like a text box over like the rectangle, or is that like a specific like style?
You mean like this like cutout?
Yeah.
Yeah, well I could have like actually done it and like just made it like a line, but I just put like a cream box behind it and just
That's how I did it.
Yeah. I could have like
There's all kinds of ways. Yeah.
cut it up,
So
but
you put it on top with a white background. Is that what you're saying?
yeah. Oh, like this is like a
Yeah,
box
yeah.
like here behind
It's
the
on the front.
yeah.
I was just wondering, was it like, because the spelling or the formatting with no capital letters and no periods or anything, no apostrophes, is that intentional?
Yeah, that's just kind of like my style. Like I don't even write in capital letters like when I write like normal. Yeah, that's just kind of
Yeah, I
my
was
style. I
thinking
like
that.
it.
Because at first I was like, shouldn't that be spelled with a capital D? And then I noticed that like everything followed the same form, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I guess that actually would be cool.
I just don't like capital.
It works with the font too, since they're all. I mean, they're all pretty much the same height, even the lower characters.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Amanda's, well, let's go back to that. How does she do her box thing? Seems so ordinary. So I think this page is like monster page. Oh, it is. This is. Let's close this. I don't even know what this is. I'm pulling these down. So actually, let's just fill the placeholder text there. One of the things I'd like to suggest on your menu, and it's beautiful. One of the things I'd like to suggest is you essentially have boxes that are stroked because they have the flowers around them. So, oh yeah, you did stroke them. That's right. So one of the things I would suggest, I don't know how you set up your boxes, but when you have a box that has a stroke on it and you look at it, you have to do something to control how close the type is to the edge of the box, right? To your type frame. What did you do?
It's just like a separate box.
You made a separate box. Yeah. So what Amanda did is she made a separate box, put her type there. So actually I do need to sit down for
okay.
this. You don't go away though, I don't want you to go far. Okay. So come sit over here. So So let me unstroke this box. So what Amanda did is she made a box larger, stroked it, and that's how she made her text inset, right? Everybody follows me on that. Okay, and then what you could do is highlight the two of them and go to this alignment tool up here at the top and center the two boxes and center the two boxes, right? So they're centered. I noticed actually in your menu, Bo, you want that? The menu. I noticed in your menu that I felt like your type's a little too close to the edge. It crowds your pretty flowers. So the most streamlined way to accomplish this, what you're doing is, let me get rid of this outside box, and let's stroke this box so you can see it. And let's make your stroke big so you guys can all see it well. All you really have to do is go to Object Text Frame Options in InDesign. And there's something called Inset Spacing. And you can inset, and I'm going to click Preview so you can watch this happen. You can inset your text from your borders. And that might have served you better, might have been easier, more consistent. Here, and then to answer your question for sandwiches, there's two ways that Amanda could have done that. One is what she chose, I think, which is she created a text box. I don't know why the screen disappears like that. She filled the text box with white, right? And she filled it with white. There we go. And that's what you did, right? I call that white tape, actually. And then you have to be really careful that when you come in here, you don't have that little hangy thing. So you have to, see, this is the hangy thing right there. You have to bring it so your alignment works, right? There's a few details which might be a little too detailed for you guys, but when you stroke a box, so let's watch this. When you stroke a box, the box with a stroke is active. In InDesign, you go to the stroke panel, you can decide where your stroke aligns. So we have a 4-point stroke, and right now it aligns to the center of the box. We can make it sit on the inside of the box only. Can you see that? Or we can make it sit on the outside of the box. And given what you want to control, in this case, I'd probably make it sit on the outside of the box. So if you did this little white tape thing, you'd get a snap to guide where your two boxes right here, if you align them to the selection and you make them flush left, they will, oh, that did not work how I expected it to work. They should align exactly to the right, box to box, not stroke to box. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. It shouldn't do that. But anyway, that would help you. So here's your box. The other thing you could do to answer your question is you could take this box and you can get our infamous object layout Pathfinder and select both boxes here and knock out, no, it's probably not going to work because there's type in here. We'll see. And you can knock out the stroke, but it just took a bite out of the box. But that way, but our stroke continues. So that didn't work. Forgot that. Forget I even said that.
Could you expand the stroke? Cut it off.
Can I expand the stroke? No. What I probably do here is not stroke it. I'd probably do exactly what you did. I would do exactly what you did.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do anything different. And what I'd probably do is type sandwich. Did I spell sandwich right? Doesn't look right.
Which is?
And then here for this text box, here you can see all my boxes now. I could do that same text frame options, object, text frame options, Command B. And I can inset the spacing and I can break the chain link and I can just make it move from the left only, not inset everywhere, right? That would be a suggestion. And you have more control this way because then you find the length of the word, right? And you decided how to space it so it had the same rule. So that's probably what I did, same as you. Not any different. Let's see, what else did I want to say? So come back here. We're good. Let's go to your PDF. Mock-ups are essential when you're doing like short flaps or something like this. X-Acto blades are essential. You didn't have one, did you? What did you use? The rotocutter? And it did this?
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. That is not good for you. The only other thing I'd like to suggest for ease of reading, I think. I mean, I see you kept the same distance. I don't know if you used a space bar. There's something, use space bar.
Yeah.
There's something called, for the distance here, this space in there between the entree and the number in InDesign. There's something called, let's zoom into here. There. There's something called an M space. We've talked about M dashes and hyphens and N dashes. Does that register with all of you? Anybody not know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I'm talking about? M dash, N dash, and hyphen? No. Okay. To put an N dash, insert a special character, hyphen and marker. There's an M dash. See that? EM. Big long dash.
Whoa.
Yep. To insert a special character here, hyphens and dashes, N dash. How wide do you think an N dash is? The width of a N. Good job. Thank you. There you go. And we'll do a hyphen right in there. And hang on one sec, Bo, I see it. Insert special character. There you go. Hyphens and markers and a hyphen. It doesn't give me a hyphen as a space, but there's a hyphen. And now you can see the different dash sizes. Interestingly, watch this. Okay. Here, this has to do with your numbers and how you spaced them. You can go to type, insert a white space instead of dot, 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 space bar, space bar, space bar. And you can put an M space in there. How wide is an M space, do you think? Yeah, apparently, right? An N space and hyphen it doesn't do. But that's a single space. What was your question?
I was just wondering why the M space is wider, way wider than the N.
Uppercase M.
Oh.
Uppercase M. Yeah.
I was wondering if you came up with those dishes yourself, or did you copy them?
Kind of both.
Because some of them were really interesting. Sorry.
That's really funny. I had a class when I got my teaching credentials a million years ago, and one of the classes was multicultural art, so our final project was for everybody to cook multicultural food made with leftovers. So if you think about it, whatever culture it is, it's usually something wrapped in dough. It's usually like leftover meat ground up, wrapped in dough, right? Think about whatever culture you live in. It's some kind of something chopped up, wrapped in dough. That's what you do with your leftovers. So now I'm thinking, now that you like this menu, maybe what we should all do is get our restaurant menus, each pick something and bring it to our final, right?
Are we going to be graded on that?
Yes, of course, has to be good. Yes, yes. So one of the things I would think of for your pricing is instead of space, 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 do the dash. It's not easy to scan because the numbers bounce around based on the line length of the type. So I might have hit a shift tab here. When you hit a shift tab right here, Shift tab, it puts your cursor to the furthest right side of the column, the text column, and you can, and I come to the next line and I hit Shift tab, and all my prices, Shift tab, would align. And it's a way that all of your pricing would align. It might be easier to scan. It's not as casual, so you might just like your casual look, and but
yeah, that one's
they look kind of funky to me. Like they just kind of stand out. So they don't bother me with the menu items because you have so much text, but they really bother me like with all your drinks and stuff like that. So I would probably pick one or the other and think about that. Was that another question?
Oh, the shift tabbing. Will that be the same
as a flush
line
right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
it would. Yes, it's just you're not having to set up a tab.
Yeah.
This takes the place of the tab. Is my question.
Say it again.
This takes the place of the tab.
It does. It takes the place of a tab, and you don't. Yeah, it's for the flush right tab of that column width. And no matter how, like, so for example, if I expand my column, right, I make my column wider, my Shift tab moves with it no matter where it is. Where if you have a tab, your flush right tab would be at a measurement mark, not at the far right of the column, right, not at the far right of the column. Good? Okay, beautiful. Who else is coming up? Okay, so we did Holly, Jackie, come on up.
All right. So mine's is a work in progress. There's not much on my design brief as of now. So this, I originally didn't want this. Wanted something more. I'll show you in a bit. But I did this on Illustrator, the sun, the cup full of sunshine. I downloaded those fonts from DuPont.
How'd you make the arc?
Or I just
Type on half?
No, I typed it and then I like warped it kind of.
Oh, you did that stretchy thing we practiced?
No. It I googled it though, like, and
go
I
to
saw.
effects and then it'll let you.
Yeah, and effects.
Oh,
and
you
there
did
go.
effects and made an arc out of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. So I just put the hours of operation, my color palette. I ended up choosing the third one. I kind of wanted to do kind of like a retro, kind of 70s diner. I obviously didn't end up using those logos. That was kind of my mood board. This is kind of like what I want on the edge. I just don't know how.
How to get there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or something like this.
On the edge of your menu?
Yeah,
Or your logo?
like around the edge, like
Okay.
this, but all around here. So this is my menu. Of course, I don't want this. So I need to put more food on it. I just have this, appetizers, and
I see your menu.
beverages, yes.
Uh-huh.
And I'm good on beverages. I have a lot of beverages. And then in the back of it, I put a quote, and I just put the sun, and that's about it.
Groovy, baby.
That's good.
I like the font choice and like if you go up the page on the menu. Yeah, I like how it just goes with the whole vibe.
What's the name of the font?
That's cool.
This one is called Keep It Truckin', I believe.
Yeah,
And then this was
yeah, I
called
use that.
80s Neon, I believe.
That's awesome.
What are the big juice and coffee.
Yeah, it's the same one.
Oh, same.
Yeah,
Okay, got
it's
it.
just all capital.
Okay. Yeah, I like it.
Okay. More thoughts for Jackie? Okay, so this is your mock-up, right? This is your work in progress?
Yeah, and I don't know how I want to bind my
It.
menu. Yeah.
Okay, so your menu is taking a photo, John? Pardon? Is that what you're doing? Taking a photo?
Yeah.
So your menu is a 4-page menu, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be longer, but
It's going to be more pages?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, did you already do it?
No,
John's on the bottom here. There you go. Okay, I'm going to, before I pass this around, I want to talk about it. So you like that kind of outliney,
Mhm.
modern thing. I think you'd have fun if you did a free-form shape. I mean, you could do it many different ways. You can be, actually, I'm going to pass this around and I'm going to do a little instructional stuff then. So I'm going to have you sit here. Because there's a few things I'm going to demo on the screen rather than talking about it so other people can pick it up, which is this. When you design something, alignment really matters. So the word coffee should align with juice, top align. That would be called top align. Looks like you did it here, but it's not quite there, right? But had you had one column here of type, then you would have duplicated that column on the right and started typing there. You wouldn't worry about your alignment, okay? Meaning, if you're in your document here, let's pull down a new page. And let's turn off facing pages. Is this helpful for you guys? The demo part? Yeah? Okay. So here, you have, let's go back to your design. So you have a 2-column design and you're wide, not tall, okay? Which is all great. So the reason you bring guides in is to know where to center things and how to make things flow. So let's take our pages here and let's make this, let's make it wide, not tall. So let's go back to document setup. Let's change it from vertical to landscape, and here we go. And let's go back to, sorry, making it facing pages so you can see it. And we'll add a couple pages here. I'm not paying attention. And here we are. So now we have a document that's wide, not tall. And again, I'd go to the master pages right here and hold my shift key down and select that one. And I go to layout, margins and columns. And you only had 2 columns going on, correct? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to make it 2 columns. And I'm going to give a big gutter so we have lots of space and breathing space. And you don't know how to bind it. You always need to know how you're going to bind what you're doing beforehand so you know if you need your inside margin larger. So let's pretend you're going to bind it with something that's going to grab it tight because you're going to keep your pages big, right? Like, so it's a cup full of sunshine and you're a diner. What would a cup full of sunshine be? You could bind it with 2 holes, and instead of a ribbon going through it, you could put a daisy, a chrysanthemum, a flower for morning sunshine. You could put a cup full of sunshine. If you're a coffee house, you could put a little coffee swizzle stick in it, or a wood stirrer. Hard to say, stirrer. A stirrer. Stir. And so here, if I break my chain link, I can increase, watch this, I can increase the size of my inside margins, right? My inside margins. So see, that's wider to accommodate whatever I decide to do now, right? Okay, so now I start thinking about this a little differently. And let's just go to this page here. And, you know, your type column was here. Your type was centered. coffee. So I don't want to spend a lot of time with type, and your type was really big, so I'm just winging it. But here, so now I've got my text box. If I hold my Option key down and I just slide it over, I've got both my text boxes there. They're not quite the right width for my margin guidelines. This flashing thing on the screen makes me a little crazy, but there you go. And then you've already set your type, right? So now you just retype in here the information you want, right? And then here, keep it one column. And if you want aesthetically here that smoothies and go-go drinks align, but juice doesn't base align here with the word steamed milk, make a new column here for go-go drinks. So what I do is this, let's say that this fills up, right? And let's say you want to align your next one here with Americano. I dragged a guideline from my ruler. That's what I did. I grabbed it, clicked on it, grabbed it, dragged it. So now I have a guideline. And now I can shorten this box. I can hold my Option key down, duplicate this box until the word coffee aligns perfectly with the word Americano. That's what I would do. All right, does that help you? Other things I would do is I would either add a little more space above each coffee, or I would indent because you're a little crowded going on here, or I would indent if you don't want to add more space. Your hierarchy of type is really good. The size and the proportions. The mood is really great. For this this shape you want, this mod look you want, this retro look, I'm going to just have a good time. And there. And in InDesign, you could even simply take your pencil and create this shape here, right, for your background. And I could pretend it was prettier, okay? And I could copy it, and I could edit it and paste in place. So it's two identical things stacked on top of each other. And I can just tug here this shape. Actually, you know what? I don't even need to do that. Let me rethink this. I know you want stripes of it. Actually, let me do that again. Let me go backwards. So I made it a little bigger. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to move it around. I can take these shapes like this, which now if I fill them with color aren't going to help us. They're not going to do any good, right? Let's use all of our colors here. I fill it with orange and fill them. They're not going to do any good, right? But I can take our inside shape. This is our biggest one, I think, and I'm going to send it to the back. Object, range, send to back. And now I'm going to take the smaller one. You can tell it's smaller. And I'm going to fill it with white. Oops. Fill it with white. And stroke it with nothing. And I can leave it like that and then take both of them and go to Object, Range, Send to Back. Right? And now I've got my look. Or I could make them like a donut. Remember that thing where they're a compound path where you could see through them? Do you guys remember that? Where this one's white. So for example, let me click off of this. Let's say I want.
Why don't you just use the box?
What do you mean?
Like, do the whole thing as a box and then round the edges so that it's like.
Oh, I can do that too. Thank you.
And then you could do that like several different sizes and increase the stroke in different colors.
I'm going to have you demo it. Why did he open his mouth, he says. Okay, so here, this is what I want to show you. So if I go to Object Arrange, Send to Back, this is white, so it worked out fine. If you wanted this, everything that's not blue and not type, if you want this to be see-through, you go to Object, Path, make a compound path, and it's going to let the blue show through. That didn't work. That should work. Make sure I've got them both selected. Deselect that. This should work. Object, Path, make compound path. Didn't work. All right, let's do a different way. Let's try Pathfinder, and let's try that. Okay. And now we just make it orange. Right? So that's another way to do it. And then, Nino, come show us what you wanted to suggest. You don't want to?
No.
You could do it, right? Would it be easier for you to do?
Yeah.
Okay, so come do it. People get tired of me doing stuff.
Okay, so I was saying that you could just use this box. Is there a way I can just
Click and drag, I think.
just wanted to try and maybe. And then you can increase the stroke. And then you can
On the right. No, up
on the
above where
right
you were.
here.
Keep going. Keep going.
You can change the color.
Oh, yeah. But that's, you're also going to change the corners.
Yeah, and
Go
that's
to
up
your right.
right. Where is that?
Right there.
Right here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Round it.
And then the numbers above change the roundedness. See the numbers?
Oh, yeah. There's that too. That's cool. And then do like another one. And change the color. Where are you? Just play with that. That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, thank you, Nina. That was good. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And then the only other thing is kind of fun now, right? It's kind of colorful. You kind of having fun. One of the things I want to say that you did, just so you know, is you used the pen tool and you created a curve like this, right? And you filled it with a color. You filled it with a color, right?
The curve.
You want to see?
It wasn't coming out for me like exactly how you curved it.
It wasn't
It was
working.
coming out like.
Oh, and you know, oh, it's angular.
Yeah.
I'll show you why. So that's when it's filled, that's what it does, because it doesn't have a closed shape. Because what it wants to do is it wants to take this and go all the way around here and make that little circle, and it's a closed shape. But if you do a curve and you do like this, that's what yours did.
Mm-hmm.
That's because I didn't click and drag. Dragging makes it curvy. So if you click and drag, you get these little handles. And it's the little handles as you drag down with your mouse. Click and drag, and then release your mouse. Click and drag and release your mouse. Click and drag and release your mouse. That's what creates your curves. Okay? So that's the difference. And then the only other thing I'd like to call attention to, I think we've got your alignment. We've talked about your type. You might want to align your pricing. It feels crowded. It's a big point size, but you don't need to make it smaller. You're not trying to make it elegant. You're trying to just be fun.
Great pricing.
Right, and we're going to eat there because it's inexpensive.
$50.
Fresh pineapple juice for, what, $2? I'm there. So I would align them and watch that tab video again, okay? Or do that shift tab thing to get it to the end of the margin. When you do, the only other thing I didn't say is when you use that shift tab thing, make sure that your type doesn't interfere here. So make sure your body copy type stays clear by either hitting a shift return or changing your indent in your paragraph. Here's a right indent. It's right indenting my shift tabs, but so don't do that. Don't do what I do, right? What I do is hit a shift tab, and then you'll see when I zoom out, my type stays out of the way of my prices. You don't want your description to overlap your prices. And the only other thing we had going on, pull quotes. Pull quotes are a beautiful thought. That was lovely and happy on the back, her sunshine quote, right? Nice idea. I think quotes are great. There's a couple things you could do to make them more fun, especially with this fun style you got going on. You can have your pull quote. You could do a couple things. We don't have such a fun font here. There used to be a font called Mojo. I don't think it's on here. Yeah, it's not on here. I don't even know what would be a fun font. We'll just do whatever. There. You can take your quote marks and remove them, cut them out. What did I just do? Cut that out. There we go. And you can make another text box, and you can make them, bigger. There. And you can make them more playful, right? The other thing is and you could do the same thing with that one, but the other thing is when you have a quote, how to attribute it. And yours is continuous. You made the type smaller, which is great, but you might want to put it on a new line and have a long dash and then put it on a new line, okay? For one that's trying to think if there's anything else. And how to bind it, I don't know, hopefully you got some ideas today, right? Do you have questions about any of it? No? It's a great start. Oh, and one more thing here. Here. Break your lines so they are more even line lengths. So garlic salt doesn't just sit here, and you don't abbreviate sausage, right? Mm-hmm. And you may as well break your line here in front of served, so this is more continuous. Get rid of hyphens in menus. I think they're cumbersome. Cherry to mottos, right? You don't want that. So break your line lengths as you want to read your menu, for example, with a soft return, which is a shift return. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is that helpful to everybody here? Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, who else is coming up?
I downloaded mine.
You uploaded yours? Okay. Okay. Save that. Close that. Let's try and locate it. Come on in. Was there anybody else who's uploaded here? Jerry, you want to do yours?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me let Jerry do it first, and then we'll,
Okay.
because he's already uploaded here.
Oh, yeah.
Whose is this? Okay. And Jerry, come on up. Okay, tell us about yours.
My restaurant name is New Journey. It's like a barbecue restaurant. This logo and the name. This is my new. Okay, find another one.
Is it printed yet?
Yeah.
Thank you. Ah, look at you. I know. Oh. Okay, you guys, you got to see what I'm doing and eyeing over. Okay, so here's his bird logo. Here, can you hand me that one, please?
I mean, this one?
Yeah. Here's his bird logo.
I try to make special, but I don't know. Maybe not good.
I don't know that you can see this as easily as you wish to.
Like a different season, I can change the color inside.
He has two pieces of paper that he die cut. So he cut out his bird here, and then he cut out mountains to create the mountain shape. And then let's see what it's sitting on. It's sitting on the bird inside.
What?
Okay, so he has two layers here. One he die cut. One, let me tear this. One he die cut. So one, it has his bird die cut. Right? Can you all see it? All right. Then the second layer here, because he has two sheets, this could be done in printing. You just have to fold over his two sheets because he has two die cuts going on. Then his other sheet, the second sheet, he has the mountains, right? So what he really needs, I think, is a couple different color pieces of paper for the die cut, because then it'll stand out more. Oh, you didn't see that. Did you see it? You did see it. Okay. Right? Super cool.
Yeah.
So if this cover paper were cream, and if this cover paper were white, and this paper here on the inside were printed blue, like a night sky, right? Or, I don't know, yellow or something, then you'd have three color tones for the logo. The paper color, right? The printing in here, and then what shows up on the page behind it. How'd you know how to do that?
Huh?
How'd you know how to do that?
I don't know. Just cut the 2 page and not make special because very simple. My
Right.
logo looks simple.
Really simple.
Victoria,
What do
I
you
don't
guys
know how
think?
to find my other
Oh, let me help you.
everything.
You mean the second one to download? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Here, let me help you. It's right here. Is that it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll start with you. I'll end with John this time.
And also I draw some design 25. Menu. And I try different color about the logo. And also the environment, I hope like that. The food like that, the barbecues, and yeah, that's it.
Okay. So there's more information to include in your design brief, okay?
Mhm.
But you know that, right? Okay. Because that's a good start. And here he's got signage for his restaurant already, right? He's already there. Okay. So, comments for Jerry and his bedazzling die cutting skills. Remember die cutting, everybody? So what I want to see is your art files that shows how you die cut that. Okay?
Okay.
Comments for Jerry for his menu?
Can you go back to the menu?
So do you have the file where you cut your pages?
Oh, no, not in.
Okay. So how Jerry's would be printed, okay, with that double die cut is he would basically have his front page. He would basically have a 3-panel menu. Let me get a piece of paper so you can understand it. You can understand how to build it. Okay, I found a scrap here, so just ignore my scrap. But this will help you guys understand how to do it. So basically, pretend this is a continuous sheet of paper, and Jerry's menu is pretend it's wide, not tall, okay? Just using what I got. So his menu would be like this. This would be the finished size of his menu. Right, like that. But how he would be able to die cut and create that illusion is like I said, ignore my tape because I found scrap paper back there. But this panel here on the paper would be die cut, and then so when it's printed, it would be printed like this. It would be die cut in those 2 locations. It would be glued. And I was suggesting, let me see. I was suggesting that we print a color on this panel, right? Because when you close it, the color on that panel would show through on the front. So this is your cover. You follow that? That's how that printing process he designed would be done. So that's how you would set up your file for it. Can you follow me?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's your 2 die cuts. This side of the menu is printed. This side of the menu might be printed with a solid color. I don't think it's going to show up. Can you help me with that, please? So then when you close that and you glue it here, the printer would glue it, this piece together. When it shows through here, you see how you see the blue showing through? And that's how it would be built. That's how your menu would be built. And your menu is multiple pages, so then you'd insert another set of 4 pages in here. So I don't remember how many pages your menu was. And then you'd probably saddle stitch your menu or something like that. You all follow that? So that's how you'd be setting up your file. Your cover would look like that. But your inside pages of your menu, your additional pages, might be just 4 pages, both sides.
Like after painting, I need to cut cut the inside.
Well, who's got the menu? How many pages is the menu?
Like 4 pages, including the cover.
Yeah. Are they front and back? Well, they're going to be printed front and back. So if they're 4-page menu, then you basically have, this is your cover, right? let's pretend this is the same size, and here's the 4-page menu that would be the same size as this one, right? So logo, logo, menu, 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 whatever you want the back to be. Is that a question? Okay. Okay. You all get that?
And do they cut it for you, or you?
Does the print shop?
Yeah.
If you're mass producing these, how your file, let me get at this for 1 second, please. How your file would be basically, have a seat up here. We're not done with you. I should make a mess up here. Let's see what we got going on. So if you were building your menu here, this is another lesson to learn. You might want to do this if you're printing your book yourself. So if Jerry's menu is, I'm going to make a new document just for the ease of seeing this and make it in inches. It's basically 6 and 4. 6 and 4 is 10. And we're not going to make it facing pages, and I'll show you why. So here's our document. It's 10 pages, and his cover is going to take these 3 pages. So I'm showing you how to set this up. Does this interest you guys, how to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So what you do is you take these 3 pages and you say you want to allow the spreads to shuffle. That's really what you want. I don't know why it says shuffle. I don't know. But this is what you want. And then it brackets these page numbers, which means they're spreads. And then if I drag them next to each other, that bracket shows up and they become a spread. They become this when you work with these pages. What did I just click? I went here, allow selected spreads to shuffle. And that's it. And actually, because I'm lazy, I probably do this. I probably delete these 3 pages and trash them. And then I take these 3 spreads and I'd say duplicate spread. And I'd move it up here because I'm lazy. And now I've got the front and the back of this, right? And what we said was, if this is my cover, notice that my cover is really the center panel right here. Okay, that's my cover. That's this thing. That's why you make mock-ups, right? You got to figure it all out, right? You all follow me on that? And then these, to make these spreads, so when you're setting up your files, you really do the same thing. You take this and you take this, use the pull-out, allow spreads to shuffle, and all I did was drag it 1 page next to it, and it pops together. And then I can even delete those and select both of those with my Shift key and duplicate them. And now I've got all the pages for Jerry's menu, front and back.
So you know that they will correspond front and back, like the middle one on the top 3.
So what I'm going to do is this. So I don't know anything until I make a mock-up, because my brain would not know that. So I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to write my cover. Here, it's not working a bit. I'm going to write cover here. I'm going to write ink, die cut. So I want the color to show through, right? Remember that? So I called it ink die cut to remember. And then, because I want to remember to print ink on that to get an extra color. And then this is my cover here. So now I'm going to write here, inside front cover. So I made that inside front cover, right? Yeah, because I wouldn't remember. And then this is my inside back cover, right? Because I'm going to insert 4 pages of menu. So inside back, and then I'm going to say outside back. Call it out back for you guys. And this is what I got. So here's my cover, my inside front cover, and my, what does that say? Outside back. Mm-hmm. And then this side says ink up that side because I want that ink to show, and it's die cut. I think this center thing does nothing because it gets glued against, right? It gets die cut though. And then that's my inside back cover. So now I set this down in front of me. I lay it down in front of me and I say, okay, here I am. So here's my cover in the middle. Here's my outside back cover. There you go. And then my next one to the right of my cover is my inside front. Okay. There. Okay, and that's how I know. I just build my mock-ups like that. Okay, does that help you guys? And then you figure out where your die cuts go. Okay. I don't want to, I know we're going to run out of time, and I don't want that to happen to everybody. This is your design brief and not your menu file, right? Oh, here's your menu file. So again, line up your dollar signs, not your dollar signs, line up the $1 column, the tens, and so forth, like we demoed in the tabs. Be consistent. You are with uppercase and lowercase. Watch your extra spaces here. This one is missing a space there. Make sure when you look at your menu that your columns align for your tabs and so forth. I'd have descriptions for your food. You understand that? Descriptions. Tell me what goes in the chocolate pudding. Belgian chocolate made with rich, heavy cream.
So what's inside there?
Chocolate cake. Triple layer. Come on, Nino. Our chocolate cake we served tonight is... I'm embarrassing you, aren't I?
I don't know. Devil's chocolate cake, a decadent.
There you go. Just make it sound good. Make it sound worth $9. Okay? Describe it.
Make it sound like something they shouldn't order.
And they will, yes. And then watch for extra spaces that don't belong, right? I don't know why your spaces are unpredictable. Check your spelling, okay? And this is where I noticed your columns didn't line up. Make sure your columns line up, okay? Does that help you?
Yeah.
And this is lowercase. That's called title case. Be consistent. Whatever you choose, do it the same for everything, okay? Yeah. Okay. Any more comments for Jerry on this besides his rock star die cutting? No. Okay. Okay, now it's you, right? Okay. What was that? Say that again. Who else did we have up here? Who's going to start? Eva?
Do you need that? I give you.
Yours is uploaded. Yeah. No, please take it. Okay. So cancel. Well, maybe we'll save this. We'll call it spreads. This might come in handy. There we go. And where are you? There you go. Come on in. Jerry, do you want this?
Yeah. Did I keep this one?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
So this is my
Thank you, Jerry.
this is my menu. This is my dinner menu,
Uh-huh.
and I have them on the screen too, but I'll start passing them around. Then this is my dessert menu, which has the same pattern but different color. This I would redo, but that's beside the point. And then this is my drink menu, which would be standing up in like a little plastic thing on the table.
Okay, tell us about your restaurant.
Yes, so So Lyra is an upscale vegan, Thai, and Vietnamese influenced restaurant. The restaurant gets its name from the constellation Lyra. The food and atmosphere, like their namesake, is light and airy. Everything at Lyra is 100% plant-based and organic. Additionally, the majority of the food is sourced locally from the Los Angeles area. Our goal at Lyra is to make the most magical and conscious food possible. We strive to serve the food of the gods and the stars. Kind of corny, but anyways. So this is my inspiration. These are some types that I was looking at, and this was really hard for me to, I didn't do it, but like to align them and to figure out how you would handle this sort of challenge typographically. Like I put them all in one column and then, or in one text box, and then here I put them in separate text boxes and tried to align them, but still.
I'd probably top align the word Lyra, because all the leading is the same. This is a benefit for you to figure out how the leading works and how, right, because they're all the same point size and the same leading, I assume. And
They
all that.
were originally, and then some of them were shifted just based off of what the type did.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's-
Yes, right. But they're
Yeah.
still the same point size and leading. They just look different, right?
and then I'm shifted
Oh, and then you
some of
changed
it
them all.
because they
Okay.
were way
Okay.
too condensed.
Yeah, so I'd probably just top align them.
Okay.
And then I'd probably separately bottom align the name of them. If that's what you're really asking, how to make this prettier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably, with a separate
In all
text
different text
box,
boxes.
I would.
Okay.
There's no happy place for this.
Yeah. This was the color palette, different color palettes that I was looking at. Some logo sketches and digital drafts. I only really did a draft of this one. And I came up with this bottom one, which then I actually later did some more like fine tweaking of kerning these letters and adjusting the baseline of this, moving this upwards. But I made this is the constellation. So then here are some drafts where I was looking at the different colors.
You have your stuff.
Yeah.
Can we go down that side?
I don't think so.
No.
So yeah, I tried the blue color and to match the blue constellations in the background and white in the background with black and pink. This is the one I ended up choosing, but I still am kind of ambivalent about them.
Chose the blue?
No, I chose the black with the darker pink.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you get the constellation chart?
I found it online. It was a free use photo, and then I put it in Illustrator and changed the colors. So yeah, this is what I chose. And that's the back. Then this is the die cut dessert, which I realized I need to create some more space here. And that's just a different color background, and then use the same paragraph styles for the drink drink menu.
So use paragraph styles. You have a space in front of cucumber.
Okay.
You use same paragraph styles throughout.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Is
Yeah.
that how you spell Caruso?
I copied and pasted this from a real menu, so hopefully.
Doesn't mean anything, right?
True.
Yeah.
True. A real menu, that is.
Yeah, exactly.
A real restaurant.
The Coyote People. Go slow it down a little. So
Okay.
go to the first menu page, please. So let's go comments here for Eva.
It's a star, like
Not this. Oh, is Lyra a star? It's a constellation. Yes.
You did good with your layouts and paragraph styles and probably the grid and everything.
Thanks, yeah.
Yeah, it's very aesthetically, is that the word? I appreciate that when I look at things typing. It looks really nice.
Thank
did a
you.
nice job with that. It's centered and very easy to read and flow.
Yeah, I was trying to be conscious of the typography, 'cause that's what this class is, but still.
Did you do the tabs for the pricing?
I did, and I had some trouble with them, but
They're hard, right?
yeah, they're finicky. It's kind of weird. Like
They're finicky.
some worked and then some didn't, and so I ended up kind of cheating a little bit by like putting in some spaces to then get it to
Yeah.
align. It
It
was
has
weird.
to do with you might have a weird symbol interfering at the beginning or the end, or you can always show invisibles. Do you know how to
I
do that?
was looking at that. Yeah.
More comments right now on this page for Eva. So these get handed at separate times, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing that unifies them in one package or anything.
Correct.
Well, the one sits on the table though, right? The
Yeah.
dessert is always on the table.
Not
The drink.
Or the drink, excuse me.
Yeah. Like
That's
in a
always there.
stand-up
Okay,
thing.
yeah.
And you coordinate colors. They vary. Each menu has its own color.
Yeah. But it's the same
Right.
pattern.
Same art. Who didn't see that? Okay. So what is it you want here? You want more space?
Yeah, this was hard because what I did is I created a 5-sided polygon,
Right.
and then the like default star that they have, it's a little bit too like pointy.
Uh-huh.
There's not enough space on the inside for the
Right.
menu.
So, you adjust
So then
it.
I had to adjust it, but I was just moving around different points, and so I'm not sure if all the angles stayed uniform.
You can change the inset. The inset is what makes how pointy
Oh,
the
okay.
angles are. So if you go to InDesign,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
go to InDesign so everybody can see it, and go to the polygon and show everybody how you made a star. And then change the points, or the inset, right?
Yeah, so I had 50 originally,
Right.
but then
Fill it so people could see it. Please. There you go.
and then if we make, I guess, change it first, make it what, higher or lower?
I don't know. I know how
Okay.
to make stars. I don't know.
Let's try 30 and see if it looks.
Yeah. So it makes a fatter
okay,
star.
Yeah. All right, that's what I'll do.
And then you know you're consistent,
Yeah.
and you don't have to guess.
Okay.
I think it does that too if you, when you're pulling it out to make it, if you push shift.
Yeah, it will keep it consistent, but then what I was doing is taking like the individual points and to try and widen it.
And how does this arrive? Because it's rolled up now.
It's not supposed to be rolled up. It's supposed to be on a like a firmer paper, heavier weight paper that's just handed to you.
Cardstock.
Yeah. All of these are supposed to be on cardstock, yeah.
No, it's called Lyra. This word right there.
On
Yeah.
the space?
Yes. 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 More comments for Eva? Your ampersands mix in with your ands.
Okay.
It looks to me like you just got to get rid of your ampersands.
Yeah, on the ones that I was writing, I put the and, so
Yeah.
I'll be cognizant
I would
of
check
that.
your upper and lowercase letters. Like you have Kiefer as uppercase, but then you have all these other words that I am so not familiar with. John, here you go. That I'm not familiar
I
with.
have that.
Oh, you already started that. Okay. Who hasn't seen menu pieces? Everybody has? Okay. And then there's words like in all the drinks and stuff that I'm thinking some are should be uppercase. So just check that.
Okay.
And so here, your star headlines are a different size than your menu.
I think what happened is when I was printing, so I made the star originally
Bigger.
11 by 11 or something,
printed
and
smaller.
it had to be reformatted to print.
Not that your dessert menu is going to arrive with this, probably.
Yeah, but it's a good thing to be aware.
It's a good
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I should have planned out when I was making the document what size paper I was printing on, and I didn't think, oh, it has to fit on the 11 by 17, so it needs to be a little bit smaller.
Does anybody have any comments about this menu? Oh, yeah.
I just think the pattern in the background is very cool and how you used it on every piece.
Thanks.
I was thinking with the star, like, because I think the text on the star is well spaced enough. I think the hierarchy and every piece of the menu is really well done. It's easily readable.
Yeah, because they're not going at the same time.
Yeah.
It doesn't really
I was thinking
matter.
because the star, the pattern that shows up on the border are both the cocktail menu and the main menu. I didn't realize it was on the back of the star first.
Yeah, I thought about that when I first saw
Yeah,
it
I
too,
was
like
thinking,
maybe putting the star border or like the blue border
yeah,
on
if
the
there's
front
some way
too.
to put it on there, but
Yeah.
it is already like a very difficult shape to work with.
I think
I
I would
like-
try and do that.
Yeah,
though.
because I like how it unifies the other pieces.
Yeah, then there's more color on the front too.
Anybody else? Well, I have some unique ideas.
Okay.
So if this is on a board, this is a nice, comfortable menu, and your theme is fun.
Yeah.
It's playful. And your logo draws out the constellation for me, and then you repeat this connect the dot kind of thing, right? Connect the stars, right? So what I really think I would have fun with if I came to, maybe it's just unwieldy and ridiculous, but I'm not big on tent cards on the tables. I dismiss them. They're superfluous to me. It means they're selling me something.
Okay.
You don't? You totally pick them up and say what's there?
Well, I know they're selling. I just think they're convenient. I just like the size of them.
You like the size of it. So, but what I was thinking is, you've got this whole constellation thing going. This star's really big, and as a well, if it's cardboard, it'll be fine. It won't get dinged. What I really want to do is just punch a hole here, tie some strings, and make little stars for little desserts and some planets for my drinks, and have a whole hanging constellation
That's cute.
off this big menu. Probably not mostly what I started with is leave the tent card, right? But then I really wanted to make it round because I want it to be a planet,
Mm-hmm.
not rectangular because it's ordinary. And then I thought, oh, wouldn't it be really fun? Just reduce the star size because it's too big in proportion to your menu. And reduce it. Let your type be smaller for your desserts. It's okay, right? And let it just hang here. You know, like just one hanging star is really what I thought. Because if you have too many strings, you're going to be tangled and it's going to be a mess and it'll always look unwieldy. But if you have one little hanging star, which is your dessert menu, attached, it might just be playful, was my thought.
Fun.
I don't know. It's just a thought. Because we can do anything now, because we have all the money in the world to do these designs, right? Okay, beautiful. Okay, who else we got? We got Danielle. And who else? Who else am I missing?
I could like show like a mood board or something.
Okay, come on up now. And who else? I just want to know how many more we got. No more? Is that true? Okay, we'll get both of you.
I don't think mine's downloaded yet.
Oh, let me do it for you. You're good. You can stay there. And we can close that page. Close that page. Any of that. There we go. That. We're cleaning up our act. Right? Okay. Is that, no, that's not you.
No, the one right beneath that.
There you go.
So my design brief's still a work in progress. There's some things that I'm missing. But my restaurant is called Bloom Cafe. It was supposed to be a small little cafe that was going to be an outdoor restaurant. But I wanted it more modern looking. So I don't know what happened there. But with the color scheme, I did want to go with, at first I wanted to do like greens and pinks for like the bloom part of it. But then I ended up using like a red for the logo. A really vibrant red. And these were my options. And then that's kind of like what I was visualizing for the inside. But I couldn't find a lot on outdoor restaurants, so. And then for the food presentation. And those are my logos. And then different variations. I don't have all the variations. I'm missing pages.
Have you designed logos before?
Yeah. Not for other classes, but that was kind of my process for I liked the bee with the leaf and the shape. And then some more, I played with it like in the square. I liked it better in the circle though. And then that was the final one that I went with. And that was the color. It kind of got messed up when I was printing it. And then these are tabs because the menu is actually 8x8, so I had to make tabs on it to kind of tile them together. And that I would do differently because it's two. I would just do a front and back. It would be 4 pages front and back. That's what my idea was originally. And then I wanted it to be like kind of different, like play with the grid a little bit, so I tilted everything, and there's a couple grammatical errors in there that I need to fix. But I just wanted a really basic menu, minimal.
Why can't you accordion print front and back? Is that your plan?
Yeah, I had it like mocked up, like I did a little version of it. To visualize it.
Perfect.
But I don't know what I was doing. I messed up when I was tiling it. I totally forgot that I had this. And, yeah. I printed
So
it
you'll
weird.
fix it?
So the revised one will be like that. And then I wanted to throw in some like pull quotes in there just to make it a little bit more fun. Yeah. So I got some like pull quotes off of like Pinterest. So just go for it. And then for the menu or for the dessert menu, stressed it backwards as dessert, but I messed up on that. It's supposed to say desserts. Yeah. Yeah. So that's it.
So can you actually? Will you hold it up for everybody to see?
Yeah. So this is supposed to be the.
So stand tall. I think.
Okay. This is supposed to be the front. This is supposed to be die cut right there,
the little
brackets.
Yeah, so this is really the front, and that's supposed to be the back. I messed up on that, but I was kind of like thinking now that I have it like this to make it a book, because just how it turned out. But I'm not sure. I don't know.
So what's your die cut? What are we going to see through on your die cut?
You're gonna see I got like this organic looking paper. It's like gray, it's kind of grainy.
So we'll see it behind it.
Yeah, because gray was part of the color scheme that I chose. I just everything that was gray was gonna be die cut.
Are you going to do that on your next week or?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that in the revised one.
Okay.
I'm probably gonna add brackets in here somehow, incorporate brackets in here, maybe and die cut it too. I'm not sure.
So comments for Danielle.
I like how you did the go back to your menu.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. I like how you did the. First, I like it may bug other people, but I think it's really cool how you scientific.
Oh, thank you.
Unique. It doesn't bug me at all. I think it's great. I love how you did the titles of it on the sides, and I love how you consistently did the colors of the pricing and the titles of the food. It just really is cool.
Thank you.
I didn't think I've ever seen it in scientific. I don't know because
I tried to
travels.
do something
It's
different.
very creative, but I like how everything just ties in. It's very clean and very neat.
Thank you. I didn't know if this was too repetitive. I mean,
Yeah.
they're all the same price,
So
so
you
I,
felt like paying for $8
yeah,
desserts.
yeah. So yeah.
And other menu pages?
So I think that's the last. Second to last.
Any other thoughts?
I'm into the color palette.
Thank
a lot.
you.
I like
This?
the previous color palette, the one you showed too.
Oh, you're thinking of
The
a beaver.
pink and green.
Yeah.
You're thinking of a beaver.
That's why I associate too when I think of them.
Yeah.
But I think this one works
With a big
really
tail.
well with the actual layout of it, especially the red. Like it looks very thought out
How do
to
I
not
tell?
only be like beautiful but also like readable.
This
I feel, I guess. I think you made a very good
Where's
choice. there.
paper?
What's your pages?
They were 8 by 8, 8-inch by 8.
Did you do the text boxes and then you slanted them after?
Yeah. And it kind of skewed the, I don't know, the letters looked a little weird to
Yeah,
me
they
at
look.
first.
They do. I wondered why that was.
Yeah, and I don't know why either.
What's your typeface?
This is Mission Gothic. This is from a website, and then this is Bodoni 72. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I would expect this
After
one.
the
since
word
it's-
vinaigrette under tomato mozzarella, you have a typo. On the left
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah,
Go to
I know.
your left.
There's a
There you go. Up. There. Right.
yeah. There's a
Yeah.
right there. Yeah, there's a couple.
And
in
your
there.
ampersand.
And I noticed too when I was looking at it that I have periods
Uh-huh.
and then no period and then no period
Uh-huh.
and periods, and I think that was just me typing too fast and not
that's
realizing
what we
it.
do.
So
And you guys need to decide when you abbreviate Mayo, if you always abbreviate Mayo. Arugula has a typo.
Okay.
An
an iceberg.
And rings looks lonely under roast beef and cheddar,
Oh yeah. Okay.
right? And rings on turkey avocado.
Mhm.
Lonely.
I think the logo is really original. I like that.
Thank you.
It's really nicely done. Is it supposed to be kind of faded in some?
Yeah,
of the-
this is opaque. This has a 50% opacity.
Yeah. That's,
Any other thoughts? I think like on Santa Fe Ranch salad, if you balance ragged lines,
Uh-huh.
then you won't interfere with the 5 in
Yeah.
alignment, right? Because it really doesn't show up. Turkey avocado, it shows up a little. So select balance ragged lines. You know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. It'll control it for you.
Okay.
I actually agree with Susie that I don't think I've ever seen a menu on an angle unless it was on a board, like on a sign or something like that. And I think you've used descriptions in appropriate places and the lack of descriptions in appropriate places, like all I remember is cinnamon rolls and this and this and that, and
Yeah.
they didn't need explanation.
Yeah.
But here you've got explanation. I think you did that really judiciously, and your limited color palette's really strong. Your hierarchy's clear and clean. I might reduce the space after tomato mozzarella, the headlines, the entree headlines, which will, and if you take like 2 points off of space after, and you add 2 points of space above, space before, you'll create a little, I mean, right now they're centered. I'm not sure if you need to. I don't know. It looks pretty terrific, to be honest. But it would separate each entree a little, differentiate it a little more.
Okay.
You could try it. It looks great. I'll be really interested in your die cuts and your binding.
Yeah, I'm gonna have fun.
Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of fun with that. That's good. Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
It's a bit like a poker size.
I think she's going to make it a little half the size. Oh, thank you. Well, I think what you should do, even more than, do you know where to find this?
The board? Or
How to show your work? I thought you said you didn't upload it yet.
I have like a PDF of it on the Creative Cloud and just like
good.
some mood
I'll
boards.
pull it down. That'd be awesome.
I looked at that board option too that you have. The
I went to Michael's.
They have them on
Yeah.
the side and the top. It was really cool and unique ones too. I like those that you chose. I like that one. They had them at Michael's, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I had a look.
I didn't even think to look for that there.
Don't tell your husband.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking organically, and I was going to do recycling, and that's where mine was.
So how is this supposed to line up on your board?
So
Or
yeah.
is it supposed to sit on each other? Like this?
Yeah.
Tell me.
So
I just wanna
what this is, it's in the Funk Zone. It's a brewery tap room, and they have like a pretty much like a makeshift food truck that's just always in there, and it's like made out of like a trailer, not trailer, the freights.
Yeah, freight cars.
Yeah, so it's just like made out of one of those, and they serve the food for both breweries that are in there. But so yeah, this is the information. So it's just some mood boards, just for my inspiration. So yeah, I'm just because these are really popular now, and I did a fine dining menu last time, so I just wanted to try to do something just really more simple, and these just are really popular now, like buying bottles and walking out with them, just kind of like a rustic vintage like setting, and just a place to like socialize and drink good beer and have some really greasy American quality
They
burgers.
have great burgers.
Yeah, really good. And I went a couple weeks ago, and I just thought their menu was just super lame. So, yeah.
Super lame.
Yeah, it was just like white paper centered on.
Super lame as in a good way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the food's super good, but just the way they're presenting their menu. So.
So your type's not working because you don't have the font here.
I think.
So it's not showing us. Do you have a PDF of it, maybe somewhere? Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's got comments for Xavier?
Yes.
Yeah, but
Way into the color scheme and the general vibe of it. The consistent like outlining. I just think it's very cohesive.
Yeah, I just wanted to put. Yeah, I mean they don't have like a lot, but I just wanted to make everything just kind of like straight right in front of you, just not a lot of looking around. But yeah, they have a lot of unique burgers and stuff.
she's paragraph style sheets.
Yeah. And there's just like some things with like the meat column, just the very bottom. I noticed that a line, the rectangle, it doesn't.
Vanished.
Yeah, it vanishes. I noticed that, and then just some things with like spacing. But I mean, you went over them earlier. Like,
Yeah, your
like
box on seafood runs off on the side.
yeah, I fixed that. I fixed it in the other one, but my type's not showing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fixed.
Oh, I
yeah.
see.
So,
There you go.
and then so this is the.
So can
Yeah.
you blow that up? Is that a doable thing? Hit the command and plus sign. See if that works. Command and plus, which is over on the right. There you
This
go.
is a different font though.
Oh, so it's not holding your phone.
Yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, I don't know.
Will that blow up singly?
This is the right font, but there's just a little more errors.
So, did you copy the format of like how the pricing's handled and so forth?
I changed the pricing, but and then there was a lot more beers on there too, and so I just I cut it down a lot, and then I just did style sheets for like the editors and stuff.
So, a couple of questions here. So, is this your final one we're looking at? You said it's a little different.
This is different. This isn't the final, but the type's right.
All right. So here's something I struggle with all the time in design. So first off, let's see if we can make that bigger. It doesn't work, does it? It's so weird. Why would it make it smaller? It's just counterintuitive. All right. You see those double lines? Did you see that on something, or you just thought of it?
I just thought of it.
That's super cool to me. Don't you guys think that looks cool? Looks hip and fun. The double lines, right where my cursor is floating around. Between all the 10-ounce, 5-ounce size, I just like the look. It's real graphic.
Yeah, it's usually just like one, and like so.
Right.
I thought just
Yeah,
two
it
separate
looks really
since
good.
there's like two different classes
Visually,
options.
it's good. Yeah, it's great. And then I don't know if you need dollar signs, but since it's a freight car, what the heck, right? And then the thing that I struggle with is what happened here to you.
Yeah, and then I fixed that, but it just
Did
yeah,
you?
Yeah.
Well, what happens, what's frustrating is you ran out of space down here and then it popped over to here.
Yeah.
So I never know really how to handle that. That's always a challenge, I think, as a designer. I don't know, how did you fix it?
I just took some type out.
Oh, you took type
yeah,
out, okay.
Just some
So sometimes you
unnecessary
can't
stuff.
take the type out.
Yeah.
So what you might do is make Firestone Walker Brewing Company. You might tighten the tracking there to see if that would fit on one line. You got to be real subtle with it. You can't be overkill. And sometimes that will work. And then maybe take the word, let's see, maybe that would buy you the space here you need.
Yeah.
It's a tough one because you
Yeah, it
want
was
the
like
word
2 lines,
hanger
yeah.
to align with
Yeah.
Saint Silvestre.
Yeah. And yeah, that's like the first thing I saw, and that's the first thing I did fix.
Isn't that funny?
But,
How did-
yeah, so on this one it's right, but it's just the type's different.
The type's different.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, look at you. Nice one. When I look at the overall piece, I think it's got the perfect right attitude for the place. You guys have been there? You all been there? They really have good burgers, right?
Amazing, yeah.
Good burgers, good beer.
Yeah, really good specials too and stuff like that.
You actually just answered this thing that's been nagging at me. I was telling my partner Brent, I was like, where did we go get that really good burger?
Oh, nice.
Now we remember. But it's just got the right attitude, and your color palette's really fun, and it's working. It's working really well. It's very clever.
Thank you.
Very clever.
Yeah.
And,
What
you
is
know,
the Nook part?
So the Nook is the name of the food spot, but they're in this like airport hangar, and they have like it's like a collective. They have like a winery in there, like a clothes store in there.
So it's
but
Mama
it's
Dog
it's
and
it's
Nook is-
owned by like that. It's owned by the same guy, like the Waterline. That's what it's called. But yeah, and then with the Nook and Llama Dog, they are like literally like within each other, like yeah. It's like
Is that their like?
so that's the
beer
food, and
bowl
then Llama
is-
Dog, yeah, and then I did for the emblem I just did a little like drought or the tap.
Right. So that's your.
Yeah, I drew that. It's very beginner, but I tried.
I think it's a good idea.
Looks great. Looks great. It's very clever.
Yeah, I didn't see any like beer menu. I couldn't find like a lot of beer menus that like looked cool and like had like cool graphics, so I thought I'd give it a shot.
It's really cool. Thank you. The only thing I'm processing, which I haven't figured out yet, is what to do with these and how they arrive. Because this is the size it is, I'm thinking that this board should be centered, and because it's alcohol, you're going to stick it on top and make it stick out more. So I don't know. You might want your board a little longer to create that much margin down here too. You don't have to recut it. Okay. Just aesthetically, right? So when you present it and you do your Photoshop it. You know how to do that? Pretend. Take this last board and copy it, paste it on top, or just duplicate your layer, like photograph it like that, and then just make one layer hang down further, so the board looks longer. Just cheat.
You don't want to change draft too. Draft is spelled differently if it's beer.
Right. If you retype it and stuff like that. Yeah.
It should be. It looks more like drought. DROUGH.
Oh, DRAUGHT.
Like ROUG.
But you know what? I'm not sure. I think restaurants do this by error too.
Yeah, that's true. They do.
I think they do it by error too. Anyway, so that's kind of my thinking for you.
Yeah.
The other thing I might consider would be to add more white space up above so you don't cover your logo.
Okay.
So everything else was excess up above. So when it's placed, your board hangs out here and there. If you want to be really type A about it, it's up to you.
Okay.
Okay? But your type is really meticulous and great hierarchy. Nice type.
Awesome. Thank you.
So all of you, I hope all of you are safe and you don't get inundated with all this rain. I hope you all have a beautiful break, a really nice week. But I really hope in that beautiful week you do your type publication. Okay? Move it along. It counts a lot. Like I said, it counts a lot for your grade. I don't remember the percentage, but if you look at the grade allocations, you'll see how it's allocated. I want to say it's 15%. It's a single category of its own of 15%. So your grades get defined by exercises, quizzes, assignments, and then type book is 15% all on its own. So it's a big, heavy weight if you look at the balance of it all, which is why it holds a lot of importance. Okay? Have a beautiful week. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
So we have a holiday.